My fellow Amazonians, this is Dr. Ayaba. I am making this audio to respond to Mr. Nkea, the purported Archbishop of Bamenda. I want to be as calm as possible because this is very important. A video I have watched a few moments ago, brought to my attention by the spokesman of the AGOVC. Mr. Nkea explained the origin of the special status and explained the effort they made to ensure that the outcome of the La République National Dialogue bestowed a federal system within Cameroon, and that their effort was thwarted by Chief Mukete's argument that the Southwest will not want anything to do with the Northwest, and that they preferred a 10-state federation, which was rejected by representatives of the East and the South, who claimed, according to Mr. Nkea, that they have never been a state. Why is Chief Mukete bestowing statehood on them when they have no experience of having been a state? It was very pathetic to listen to the trajectory of his arguments. In political discussions or in a normal conversation about issues, you begin first by trying to understand the motivation of speakers. What is the thesis of the argument? What is it that they are trying to prove or argue for or argue against? And in Mr. Nkea's trajectory, everything was about justifying the existence of Cameroon and its preservation as it is, with Ambazonia being its colonial spoils. Every other thing he said was jargon. His destination was the justification of why an entire people, 8 million strong, should remain under a cacophony that has offered them nothing but death. That's the representative of His Almighty. The core of truth. Now let me get into Mr. Nkea's, how do I describe it? Sermon or eulogy. I don't know how to describe it. There is an ongoing war between Cameroon and Ambazonia because of an underlying conflict. And I think it's very important we understand the difference. A war is simply one of the tools in resolving a conflict. You could also use negotiations. You could use any other tool. But what is the conflict? Who are the conflict parties? It is very important for us to understand the pattern of activities of Cameroon. So it is, let me rephrase it. It is important for us to understand the way Cameroon functions. Every time there is a conflict, Cameroon chooses its own interlocutors. What it usually does is the true representatives of the conflict parties, whether it's the issue of the GCE board or is the issue of democratization, Cameroon chooses its own interlocutors. Those it wants to talk with in furtherance of its own outcome. It is never interested in resolving the conflict. I recall when Dr. Ngumne and Pandangam and the others, Prof. Kasanyangwe, he took the case to Banjul and received the outcome we received in 2006. In one section, it specifically stated that there should be kind of a discussions between the political system in La Republic and that of the SCNC. But instead of Cameroon simply responding to the deposition made by Scapo and the others, Cameroon did not only respond to that, but it created a second set of interest parties, the Etaobens. From nowhere, they brought in some so-called SCNC representatives into Banjul as their own people they have chosen to speak with. Because with those people, they were sure of achieving the outcome of maintaining Cameroon as it is, irrespective of the grievances of Ambazonia as represented by the SCNC at that particular moment. When we fought for democracy, they multiplied political parties. and decided they were never going to speak to John Frundi until he integrated, and made Mr. Bello Buba and some nincompopes their interlocutors to achieve an integrated political system that responded to the whims and caprices of the CPDM. They decided to choose who they wanted to speak with in furtherance of their own objectives. When they called for the large débat, grand débat, and Prof. Anyangwe and others put together the constitutional proposal for a federal system, they called off the grand débat and large débat and set up another cacophony of reforms by telephone and faxes. They chose their own interlocutors during that period. There emerged the 1996 Constitution. When they were forced to organize elections for municipalities in urban areas where they knew they had no support, or where it would have been very difficult to overtly manipulate votes, and where they knew the likelihood of deception and manipulation was low, they decided who was going to manage the city, not the elected mayors, but government delegates. When we fought for the university, they created multiple universities for their side, created our own, appointed the people they wanted to oversee the activities of what we have fought for. When the Tassangs rose up, instead of having fruitful negotiations with the people who have risen up, the bastardized lawyers called people all sort of names, little issues that could just be looked into. They escalated, pushed some into jail, threw some into exile, murdered others. And then they sent Atanganji and others, appointed psychopaths as the true interlocutors for the aggrieved parties. For close to how many years we have been fighting this regime. Instead of talking with the people who are doing the fighting, they decided they were going to get Nkea, they were going to get Mokete. What Mokete said for Nkea has merit than what Ayuk Tabi will say. Who tells Nkea that Mokete speaks for the Bafo people, even, or just for Meme? Who doesn't care? Who was Nkea representing? Is it the church fighting the war? I said I will be calm. Sorry, I have to go back to my being calm, because I don't want you to take my tone for my content. Is the church part of this conflict? Has Nkea laid claim to anything? Has he asked for any reforms? How is it possible that those who have asked to be left alone are kept aside? Is the Bafo chieftaincy in crisis? Mokete should speak for the people of the Atlantic. Why not? What was the reason our country was divided into the Northwest and the Southwest? So why do you think Bia is going to bring, rather than he will bring Akwanga or bring Ayuk Tabe, who are from the Atlantic, to lay claim to the state than bringing Mukete, who acts in furtherance of their objective of dividing the Ambazonian state. The enemy chooses who speaks for their grief in furtherance of the enemy's objective. Oh, suddenly, the East, they've never been in a state, but they have been in a province, right? They have been in a region. What is the difference? What is the difference? So what is the difference between their province, their region, their spatial status? What is the difference? It now gives some powers or takes away some powers from the executive, which has accumulated even legislative and judiciary powers. I pity our generation. I pity our generation because it takes guts for someone to undermine the intelligence of a people to sit down and speak such a rubbish. It takes guts. It means they have reached the stage where they think Ambazonians are fools. So the argument Nkea is making is that, oh, there was something that emerged from the national dialogue. Last I read, when there is a conflict and you go into discussions, when you emerge from those discussions or that particular discussion with a product, that product should be able to at least transform the conflict, resolve the conflict, or manage the conflict. If after the enemy had selected its own interlocutors to present a case they did not have, the church had no case against the state of La Republique. The Bafor people had no case against the state of La Republique. They were brought in to present what case? Then they were given a solution called special status. So the Bafor chieftaincy now has special status. Nkea's church has special status. They should enjoy it. We were not there. They have come back with their special status for the church. Some took their own special status and flew out of the country with it. Some took theirs into NGOs. Some took theirs into chieftaincies. It is none of our business. Enjoy your special status. He is still claiming that there was something that emerged from La Republique's organized special status. Jesus Christ. La Republique organized its own special status or its own national dialogue. He handed to Nkea, the Archbishop, special status. He handed another special status to Mukete, who took it to his grave. And then after that, they have not still implemented their special status. Or maybe the national dialogue also never took place. The same way Canada never took place. What should I say again? The only thing I want to say is that I know sometimes you dehumanize a people. They rely on you for so long. They beg to have jobs. They beg you to certify their documents. They beg to have ID cards. They became so beggarly that you come to the conclusion that their state of oppression, the condition you have imposed on them, has transformed them into the ridicule that you wanted. So you go around making a mockery of yourself with the hope that they are so stupid because of the emasculation and tyranny to continue to listen to you. We are stupid. I agree. If we were not stupid, how is it possible that a cacophony like Cameroon can occupy Amazonia? If we were not stupid, how is it possible that a whole chief of a powerful clan like the Bafo people will go and sit, will travel on death trap roads to the capital of the country that took over his own and sit there for weeks to be lectured, bullied, and sent back? If we were not stupid, how is it possible that an archbishop whose church had no grievances against a state, who is not party to any conflict, carries himself, goes and sits? He agrees with Mukete that, okay, the Southwest does not want anything to do with the Northwest. Oh, good. But when Ambazonia does not want anything to do with Cameroon, it's a crime. He agrees with the people of the East and the South that no one can bestow onto them a state. But La République has a right to bestow on Ambazonia a special status. God bless you all. But unless we all die, Cameroon will never rule Ambazonia again. Never. Never. The French system will never exist again in Ambazonia. I don't know how to put it.
Welcome to ACN. Welcome to ACN.